Well, good morning. I am Richard Garland, Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Smyrna. I call the meeting of the Smyrna License and Variance Board, March 10th, 2021, to order at 10 a.m. Board members present to my left are Frank Martin, Public Works Director, and to his left, Mary Moore, Smyrna Library Director. Taking official meeting minutes today will be Tina Monahan, the Deputy City Clerk. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing for variance or V21-020, allow second accessory structure, land lot 523 at 3116 Lee Street, Stephanie Wheeler, owner. We'll be hearing this morning three different variance requests on this property. I'm going to first ask Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 for the City Community Development Department, to come forward and give us a background on this, all three of these variances, and then we'll vote on them one at a time.
All right, thank you, Richard. So, good morning, Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 Community Development. So these are three variances, as you pointed out. The first one is V21-020 to allow a second accessory structure, V21-021 to reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 4.5 feet, and V21-022 to increase the accessory structure building size from 25% to 39% of the primary dwelling. This subject property is a 0.45 acre lot on the west side of Lee Street. The applicant is proposing to construct a one-story, 486 square foot addition to the existing 520 square foot detached art studio in the rear of the property, creating a new studio space of a little bit over 1,000 square feet. The existing structure does have a bathroom facility, but there are no bedrooms nor kitchen area. So the applicant is actually an artist by profession here in Smyrna. The art studio will be used for the applicant's art production as well as storage space for her pieces. Per the applicant, the studio will not be used as a showroom, nor will there be any meetings that take place where people are coming to the property. The addition will have shake siding, a metal roof, and decorative shutters, so it will all look very nice in the end. There is currently a 54 square foot shed on the southwestern side of the property in the rear of the home. No additional setback variances are required for that structure. Due to the existing studio structure's non-conforming location, the most logical area to construct the addition is within the same side setback to decrease disturbance to the surrounding neighbors. Strict application of the ordinance would deny the applicant any ability to add on to the current structure due to its non-conforming location. The adjacent building to the south will exceed the minimum 10 feet separation from the subject property, so no fire suppression system is needed. The existing one-story primary structure is 2,566 square feet, which means that the proposed studio of 1,006 square feet does exceed the allowable accessory structure size by 14%. Since there's no bedroom or that kitchen space I mentioned allocated in this studio, it's not going to act as another primary dwelling. Since the existing studio has existed on the property since 1942, no negative precedent will be set and should have minimum disturbance to any surrounding neighbors. Community Development does believe these variances are the minimum variances needed to expand this single-story studio, and we have not received any calls in opposition to the request. It has been properly posted with no site distance issues. After reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval to allow a second accessory structure, reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 4.5 feet, and increase the accessory building size from 25% to 39% with the following four conditions. One is the standard condition. Approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. 2, the detached studio is to be utilized by family members only. Number 3, the proposed studio shall not be rented or occupied for gain. And number 4, these conditions shall run in perpetuity with the property and as such are also applicable to any future owner. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
All right, thank you.
Is the applicant present this morning? would you like to step forward, please? If you would, for the record, would you please state your name, and then if you'd like to add anything to the request?
Good morning, Stephanie Wheeler.
Good morning, Stephanie.
Hi. I think she covered everything.
Okay.
I've been in Smyrna since 2002 in that very house, and I've worked there for many years, so I'd like to continue working there.
Okay. You guys have any questions?
Do you agree to the stipulations stated?
Yes, absolutely.
That's one of the things I'm supposed to say. Okay, thank you, Stephanie.
Okay, thank you.
This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to make a comment, please step to the podium. Please state your name and your address before making your comments. Anyone like to make any comments on any of the three variance requests related to this property? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If you would state your name first, please.
Sure. I'm Patricia Weaver, and I live at 3089 Lee Street. And my only question is, along that part of Lee Street, do we have a lot of neighbors that are below the 10-foot setback? Do we know how many? Is this setting a precedent to be below the 10-foot setback?
I'm going to defer to community development on that to ask them if they might know the answer to that question.
I do not know the number of properties, but I could get that to you if you'd like to see. But this is a pretty common variance for the city, so it has been approved in the past, but I don't know for that particular street.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my only thing.
Okay, thank you.
Caitlin, it is existing as non-conforming already, right?
That is also correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And has been since 1942.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? If not, I will entertain a motion on V21-020.
I make a motion to approve variance V21-020, allow secondary accessory structure land lot 523 at 3116 Lee Street.
Second.
Hearing a motion in a second. If there's no further discussion, and it has been properly seconded, we'll call for a vote. The motion is passed. Second item on the agenda is V21-021, which is to reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 4.5 feet, again on land lot 523, 3116 Lee Street, owner Stephanie Wheeler. Caitlin, is there any additional information that we would need to hear on that?
Not at this time.
And Ms. Wheeler's walking out, so I don't guess you have anything else to add on that. We just have to approve them one at a time. You're good? Okay. Is there any public comment concerning the second variance, which is the side setback reduction? Hearing no public comment, we'll take a motion on the second variance.
I make a motion to approve V21-021, reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 4.5 feet, land lot 523, 3116 Lee Street, Stephanie Wheeler.
We have a motion, and we have a second. We'll call for the vote. Motion has passed. Third item on the agenda is V21-022, increase accessory building size from 25% to 39%. Land lot 523, 3116 Lee Street, owner Stephanie Wheeler. Ms. Crow?
Nothing more to add.
Ms. Wheeler? Any questions? Entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Hold.
Oh, yeah.
It is a public hearing. Thank you, Tina. I forgot that. If anyone would like to make a comment related to this request, you may step forward, state your name first, and then make your comment. Anyone like to do that at this time? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve V 21-022, increase accessory building size from 25% to 39% land lot 523 at 3116 Lee Street.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call for a vote. Motion has passed. Thank you, Ms. Wheeler. Item 4 on the agenda is V21-013, elevation amendment for variance cases V21-001 and 002, land lot 489 at 1095 Powder Spring Street. Blake Backlini is the owner of that property. I will again ask Ms. Crow to step forward to give us a summary on this request.
All right, Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 Community Development. So this variance is V21-013 to allow for the elevation amendment for variance cases V21-001 and V21-002. So this property will be very familiar to you all. You did look at this. It was our very first variances of this year. So this subject property is 0.69 acre lot on the north side of Powder Springs Street. So as I mentioned, you did receive this earlier this year, and the applicant did receive approval for 2 variances back in January of this year for an increase in accessory building size from 25% to 79%, and an increase in accessory building height from 15 feet to 17 feet, respectively. Since the proposed enclosure is outside the scope of the stipulations of the originally approved variances, the applicant was required to request another variance. So this subject property had 3 non-conforming accessory structures in the rear of the property, 2 of which were in place since 1960. The applicant has since obtained a demolition permit and removed those 3 accessory structures, and will begin building, if this is approved, an 1,800 square foot detached garage to protect both his vehicles from the large oak tree, as well as create a nice storage and crafting space on the lot. The proposed detached garage will hold 3 cars, as well as have that storage space I mentioned. It will be built of the same materials as the existing home and will be painted to match to make it a nice effect from the road. So instead of an open air carport as originally proposed, the structure will be fully enclosed on all 4 sides with a 2-car garage door and a small entry door for entry. To access the new structure, the applicant will be using the existing driveway off of Powder Springs Street. And due to the gradual slope of the property, you won't be able to see the road from this area, and it will have limited visibility to any passerby. The variance amendment proposed should have no negative impact on the adjacent properties, and community development has not received any calls in opposition to this request. It has been properly posted with no site distance issues. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the amendment and recommends approval to allow for the elevation amendment for variance cases V21-001 and V21-002 with the following standard condition. Approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the board?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crow. Is the applicant here? Would you please step to the podium? Welcome back. For the record, please state your name and tell us about your request, if there's anything you'd like to add to what Ms. Crow presented.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Blake Backlini. I do not have anything else to add. Ms. Crow is very thorough, and I appreciate everyone's consideration on this matter.
Any questions?
Just to clarify, the footprint of your project is not changing. It's just going to be an enclosed structure instead of a carport, right?
Correct, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to make a comment, please step to the podium. Please state your name and your address before making your comments as related to this request. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve variance 21-013 elevation amendment for variance cases V21-001 and 002, land lot 489, 1095 Powder Springs Street, Blake Backlini.
We have a motion. Is there a second? There's the second. Now we can vote. And the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Backlini. Item E, V21-014, variance continuation for variance cases 18-026 through 028, land lot 628, 3336 Creekwood Trail. Rachel McCullough is the owner of the, or the applicant. Ms. Crow?
All right. Caitlin Crow, Planner 1, Community Development. So these are going to be two variances again for this one. So the first one is variance V21-014 to allow for the variance continuation for variance cases 18-026 through 028 and V21-015 to allow construction on a lot below minimum standards. So this subject property is 0.26 acre lot on the north side of Creekwood Trail. The subject parcel is located within the Creekwood Forest subdivision, which was platted back in 1959, nearly 50 years before the adoption of the stream buffer ordinance. Many of the lots within the subdivision are actually encumbered with the stream buffers. However, a majority of the homes were constructed prior to the adoption of the stream buffer ordinance, which was back in 2005. The applicants did receive approval for 3 variances back in April 2018. Variance cases, again, 1826, 18-027, and 18-028 to allow for a front setback reduction from 35 feet to 16 feet, allow an encroachment into the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer, and allow an encroachment into the 75-foot impervious surface area setback, respectively. Since the originally approved variances have expired over the 1-year mark, the applicant is required to request another variance to extend the allowable time frame. Additionally, the applicant is requesting an additional variance to allow for new construction on a substandard lot. The applicant is proposing to build a 1-story single-family home with a basement on the subject property. The lot is currently 11,383 square feet, whereas the R15 zoning district does require a 15,000 square foot lot. Furthermore, the subject property is greatly impacted by the state's 25-foot stream or undisturbed buffer, the city's 50-foot undisturbed buffer, as well as the city's 75-foot impervious surface setback. The stream actually directly cuts through the property towards the rear and extremely limits the buildable area on the lot. Due to this, the applicant is requesting to maintain those previous variances to reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 16 feet to greatly preserve that 25-foot buffer. In fact, they will not be entering it. And by allowing that to move forward, there's no further encroachment into that buffer area. The applicant has designed gravel trenches in the front and rear of the property to compensate for the addition of the impervious surface into the buffer area, and will also filter sediment that would otherwise impact the stream. The city engineer has reviewed the application and has agreed to let the applicant move forward with the methods used for peak flow reduction as well as the water quality. According to the site plan, only 24.51% of the lot will be impervious for the construction, and R15 actually does allow for 35%. Community development believes the hardship is not self-created, as the lot of record has existed before the stream buffer ordinance was adopted. Community development believes the variances requested are the minimum variance needed to build the single-family home, and strict application of the code would prohibit any size building on the subject property. It has been properly posted with no site distance issues. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the requests and recommends approval to allow for the variance continuation for variance cases 18-026 through 028 and V21-015 to allow construction on a lot below minimum requirements with the following 2 conditions. One is the standard condition Approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. Number 2, the applicant shall have a pre-construction meeting with both the city engineer and the city arborist prior to construction. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Thank you.
Hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Crowe. Is the applicant present? Would you please step to the podium and state your name for the record? And any additional information you'd like for us to hear.
Good morning, Rachel McCullough.
Good morning.
I believe Caitlin did a great job in summarizing our desire to build a home on the subject project on property, and we are willing to adhere to those contingencies.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing, and if anyone would like to make a comment, if you'd please step forward to the podium, state your name and your address before making your comments. Is there anyone present who'd like to make a comment on this request? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Variance request 21-014, variance continuation for variance cases 18-026 through 028, land lot 628 at 3336 Creekwood Trail.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We will call for the vote. And that motion passes. We have a second variance request related to the same property. Ms. Crowe, is there any additional information that we need for V21-15? Let me read it first, please. Allow construction on a lot below minimum requirement land lot 628 at 3336 Creekwood Trail. Rachel McCullough, owner. Do we have any additional information on this request, Ms. Crowe?
Not at this time.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Crowe related to this request? Ms. McCullough, any further comments related to this request? And that was a no if that wasn't audible for the secretary. Thank you. This is a public meeting. If anyone would like to make any comment related to this request, please step forward, state your name for the record. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve variance 21-015, allow construction on a lot below minimum requirements, land lot 628, 3336 Creekwood Trail. Rachel McCullough, applicant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call for the vote. And the motion passes. Thank you, Ms. McCullough. Next item on the agenda is V21-016, allow impervious surface increase from 45% to 48.19%. Land lot 594 at 1534 Spring Street, Amy and Christopher Kahn. Ms. Crowe?
All right, Caitlin Crowe, I can say my name, Planner 1 Community Development. So this variance is V21-016 to allow an impervious surface increase from 45% to 48.19%. So this subject property is 0.16 acre lots right on the south side of Spring Street at the very end of a shared driveway. The applicant is proposing to build a 40 square foot outdoor fireplace and patio on the side of the property. The lot is a pre-existing platted lot from 2012 that is 8,839 square feet. When the home was built back in 2012, the builder did go over the allowable 45% without obtaining a variance. So now that they are coming back, it does require one to build the additional square footage. It's only going to be increasing by roughly 0.21 with the addition of the patio and fireplace. And since the existing single-family home was already non-conforming, the hardship is not self-created. To offset the increase in impervious surface area, the applicant is proposing to use pervious pavers for the majority of the patio space and remove the existing stepping stones in the front yard. There will still be that net impervious increase of 40 square feet. However, the city engineer has reviewed the application and is supportive of the variance without any further mitigation measures. Strict application of the ordinance would deny the applicant any ability to build any usable outdoor space due to the existing driveway and house already over that allowable impervious coverage. Community Development has not received any calls in opposition to this request. It has been properly posted with no site distance issues. And after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval to allow an impervious surface increase from 45% to 48.19% with the following standard condition. Approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe? Thank you, Ms. Crowe.
Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Would you please step forward? That is the cleanest podium in the state of Georgia. Please state your name for the record and then any further comments.
Hi, I'm Amy Kuhn at 1534 Spring Street. I don't have any further comments. Thank you, Caitlin. And we do agree with the conditions stated.
Okay, that's good because I was going to have to ask you that.
Okay, thank you.
And I apologize for mispronouncing your last name.
It's no trouble.
All right. Does the board have any questions for the applicant before you step away, ma'am? Just in case. Just in case.
Sorry.
No questions. Okay, great. Thank you. Now, this is a public hearing. If anyone would like to make a comment, please step to the podium, state your name and your address before making your comments related to this request. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve variance V21-016, allow impervious surface increase from 45% to 48.19%, land lot 594 at 1534 Spring Street.
Second.
Hear a motion in a second. Call for a vote. And the motion is passed. Thank you, Ms. Kuhn. Next item on our agenda, item H, is V21-017, allow additional accessory structure, land lot 314-4112, Manson Avenue, Ryan and Carrie Marshkark. Good. Ms. Crowe?
All right. Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1, Community Development. So these, again, are two variances. The first being V21-017 to allow for an additional accessory structure, and V21-018 to reduce the accessory structure rear setback from 5 feet to 3.8 feet. The subject property is a 0.94 acre lot, so nearly an acre, located at the intersection of Manson Avenue and Winding Valley Drive. The subject property is currently occupied by a single-family home, an 120 square foot shed, and a proposed 1,704 square foot swimming pool. The accessory structure ordinance does only allow for one accessory structure per lot, but in order to expedite the permitting on the pool, staff has recommended the variance be applied to the existing shed since it is currently non-conforming, so this will bring it into compliance. The existing shed has been used for lawn equipment and tools and is currently in the far rear of the property, and there are no other structures within 50 feet on any side. The shed has existed prior to the property owner's purchase of the home in November of 2020, and there are no formal records of when the shed was built since there aren't any permits required for structures underneath 200 square feet. The subject property is currently buffered from adjacent properties by an existing wooden privacy fence, and due to the size of the lot being almost an acre, the location of the shed, and that existing wooden fence, Community Development believes the proposal will not adversely affect any adjacent properties. Also, similar variances have been approved in the past for any type of outdoor storage nearby. Community Development believes the variances requested are the minimum variances needed to allow for any outdoor storage. Community Development has not received any calls in opposition to this request. It has been properly posted with no site distance issues. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the requests and recommends approval to allow both an additional accessory structure and reduce the accessory structure rear setback from 5 feet to 3.8 feet with the following standard condition. Approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Ms. Crowe?
All right, thank you.
Hearing none, is the applicant present? Step forward, state your name for the record. If you'd like to add anything to Ms. Crowe's summary.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Marshark, property owner, and Ms. Crowe did a great job explaining everything. I have nothing else to add.
Okay. And do you accept the conditions that community development has specified?
Yes, sir, we accept the conditions.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to make comment, please step forward at this time. State your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to pass V21-017, allow additional accessory structure, land lot 314 for 112 Manson Avenue, Ryan and Kari Marshark.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for a vote. Motion is passed. The next item is a related variance, V21-018, reduce accessory structure rear setback from 5 feet to 3.8 feet, land lot 314 at 4112 Manson Avenue, same applicants. Ms. Crowe, is there any additional information we need on this request?
No, there is not.
Are there any questions for Ms. Crowe related to this request? Mr. Marshark, do you have anything else you'd like to add to that? Okay, this is a public hearing. If you'd like to make a comment related to this request, please step forward at this time. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve variance V21-018, reduce accessory structure rear setback from 5 feet to 3.8 feet, land lot 314, address 4112 Manson Avenue.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call for the vote. And the motion is passed. Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is V21-019, allow additional accessory structure, land lot 561 at 1399 Roswell Street. Mark Smith is the applicant. Ms. Crowe?
All right, Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1, Community Development. We've reached my last one. So this variance is V21-019 to allow for an additional accessory structure. The subject property is a 0.43 acre lot right at the intersection of Roswell Street, Whitfield Street, and Walker Court. The subject property is currently occupied by a single-family home and a 500 square foot detached accessory building. The accessory building is currently used as a gym and gaming area for the family. The accessory structure ordinance does allow for only one structure or accessory structure per use or per lot. So the applicant is proposing to construct a 96 square foot shed to store gardening and work tools, and thus is requesting the variance. The subject property is buffered from adjacent properties by an existing wooden privacy fence, and due to the existing fence and rear location of the shed, community development believes the proposal will not adversely impact any of the adjacent neighbors. No other variances for setback reductions or impervious area increase are required for this request. Strict application of the ordinance would deny the applicant any ability to have a storage shed on the property due to that existing detached structure. Similar variances for additional accessory structures have been granted where approval would not impact the adjacent properties. Community development believes that this requested variance will not adversely affect surrounding neighbors, and we have not received any calls in opposition to this request. has been properly posted with no site distance issues. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval to allow an additional accessory structure with the following standard condition. Approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe from the board? Hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Crowe.
Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Would you step forward, please? If you would, state your name for the record.
Good morning, everyone. Mark Smith, homeowner.
Good morning, Mark. Any additional comments that you'd like to add to what Ms. Crowe has submitted?
No, Ms. Crow's done an exceptional job. Thank you very much. Nothing else to add.
And do you accept the conditions that the community development has specified?
Yes, sir, I do.
Excellent. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to make comment, please step to the podium. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve V 21-019, allow additional accessory structure, land lot 561-1399 Roswell Street, Mark Smith.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call for the vote. And the motion is passed. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next item on the agenda is a privilege license agent change request, LIC 2021-02, beer and wine, retail package at 4330 East-West Connector, SF Markets, LLC, doing business as Sprouts Farmers Market at 518 with Adriana Rippin as agent. Is Ms. Rippin present? If you'll step forward, please.
Hi, my name's Adriana Rippin, store manager at Sprouts Farmers Market.
And I'm Mindy Thompson with Sard and Leff Attorneys, and we represent Sprouts.
Okay. Ms. Rippin, you are applying for the agent change?
Correct.
Okay. And you understand the city of Smyrna has some pretty stringent requirements as it pertains to your beer and wine sale?
Correct.
Can you, for the board, can you explain to us the process that you all train your employees with as far as beer and wine recognition, or age recognition and the sale of that?
So when we received new cashiers, they had to do a LMS, which is online learning modules, and before they could even hit the registers, they'll take several of these modules and have assessments after them. And then before they even get a cashier number, they have to take a cashier assessment test. If they don't pass the test, they don't go into the registers. So it goes through multiple modules of correct carding and stuff like that. So all our cashiers card every customer that transactions an alcohol beverage.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions from the board?
Have you ever been an agent at any other location?
Yes, I have. Woodstock, City of Woodstock.
Okay, excellent. Any other comment?
No, thank you.
Okay. This is a public hearing, right? I have to say the same thing for this? Tina? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'll entertain a motion on the privilege license agent change request.
I make a motion to approve privilege license agent change request, license 2021-202, beer and wine retail package at 4330 East-West Connector, SF Markets, LAC, DBA Sprouts Farmers Market, number 518, with Andrea Griffin as agent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call for the vote. The motion is passed. Thank you, Ms. Rippin. Last item on the agenda is approval of the February 24th, 2021 License and Variance Board meeting minutes. I will entertain a motion to do so.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We vote on that, please. With that, we will adjourn the meeting at 10:40 a.m. Thank you very much.